Hello and welcome to episode 1 of OneMindZone podcast, the podcast that teaches you how to reach a balance of body and mind. I am your host, Yogile, and helping with me today with this podcast, my dear friend, inspiration for all of my life, my dear friend, Khat. Hi, Khat.
Hi Yoga, how are you?
How are you? I'm good.
Good.
Have you been?
Well, it's really crazy at the moment, but I've been pretty good, I guess. Yeah.
And just wanted to say that in this episode, we are going to talk about the whole journey of Kat, the whole journey of her, actually the whole journey of healing her back from the early days when she got diagnosed with specific problems in her back, and she will share with us all her experience through all of the healing parts, the doctors, the diagnosis, and the point why I have cat I cat the point why I have a cat here is because actually I wanted to inspire other people in teaching them or just showing them how you can actually heal yourself. And sometimes there are some very small details which doesn't seem to be that big actually, and these specific things maybe might help you to improve your health one or another way, mentally or physically.
Yep.
So this is why I have Kat here, because Kat was for me all of my life the biggest inspiration in everything actually.
Oh, that's so
It's been
sweet. Thank you.
she's been my inspiration all of the time in terms of spirituality in the beginning, in terms of um, understanding what you actually want or you don't want to have in your life, in terms of finding the right love partner, and so on and so on and so on. And also one of the most inspirations in just seeing her being strong in everything in her life, in any kinds of situations in her life. So, and when I actually started this my holistic health coaching, I had already from the beginning this idea that I want to start doing podcasts with the people who actually inspired me all my life, because I know many people who helped me to grow, who helped me to reach the way I am now, and Kat is actually one of them.
Oh,
and
that's so sweet. Aw, I
and so
appreciate
yes, I'm really happy to have you here today.
it. Thank
And
you.
you're the really very very first one actually of this podcast series, and I hope that you're not the last one.
Oh,
Hopefully.
hopefully. So I'm basically the guinea pig of this experiment.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's hope it goes well.
So how it's been for you all of these days of lockdown? You
I mean,
you live in London. How is it now here?
yeah, it's weird what it's like. It's been 4 months now of this
Mm,
lockdown because we locked down, my partner and I, we locked down before the government announced the lockdown because it seems like things were getting kind of out of hand.
mm,
And yeah, it's been absolutely weird because everything moved online. No one could go out. It was absolutely bizarre. I feel like everyone's getting a bit of OCD with the cleanliness.
mm,
Everyone is getting a bit agoraphobic. Everyone has like major social anxiety.
of course.
And my social anxiety is not that great in general.
Mm,
So yeah, it's something to get used to. It's definitely not normal circumstances, especially with the gyms being closed, which is not great if if you have a wobbly mental state,
yes.
having the ability of going to the gym really.
It pushes you out kind of your whole routines, no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 2020 it's not a great year for anybody, I would say.
Well, it's true. It's been really weird by now, no?
Yeah, I would not recommend this year to anybody. Just skip it. Like, just skip to 2021 already.
And so how is it there still in UK? Is it still the tense situation? Is it still everything closed, or it
Um,
slowly opens up,
so
or
slowly it's opening up, and it seems like some people are dealing with it better than others.
mm,
I honestly feel like I just want to get it over with, and I want reality to go back to normal. and some other people are fully against it, which I guess makes sense. I honestly just want everything to go back to normal. But I mean, obviously, there are people we should think about, you know, people with autoimmune diseases, older people, like that's important. We should, I guess, all we can do is listen to the government and try to be cautious and not to be stupid, you know, as much as we can, I would say.
It's also the situation when I think no one actually knows what is good, what is bad, and how we should act or what we should do. And every move is just like a guess, I guess, from everywhere, from the side of the government or side of the doctors or anything. It'll
take a while. It will definitely take a while for the research to come out what we should have done, but you know, it's done now. I think we can only move on and just look forward and see what happens, basically. So they're opening gyms in like few weeks, so I'm really happy about that, I must say. That's like one of my main priorities. I want to go back to working out properly because it's so easy at home to slack off.
Yes.
So you're just like, I'll exercise tomorrow maybe, you know, but that's not.
It's about the consistency.
Yeah, you know, and you're like, I can do it later in the day. And then, you know, later comes and you're like, oh, I'll have dinner now and I'll exercise afterwards. And you're like, well, it's time to go and sleep now, you know. So it's not great. I mean, I was doing pretty well for the first, I would say, 2.5 months. I was doing exercise like literally nearly every day, apart from missing a day or so. But now I'm even worse. I'm exercising every other day, which is probably not great, but you know, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I know, but I know this feeling, especially like when you actually closed for, well, now it's a bit changing everything, the situation, but like in the beginning when we were closed for 24/7 inside, and you are lacking this kind of daily movement, the physical daily movement to just like simple things, going from home to maybe work or going from home to gym or or taking your bike and going there to the shop or there. It's like this simple physical activities, which is actually apparently now we see that they're really important to us.
Yeah.
It's really missing. And you also realize that this exercise, maybe once a day, half an hour exercise or 1 hour exercise is really not enough to maintain the healthy physical and mental.
Yeah. No, but also the lockdown was much worse in Spain where you are, because you couldn't even go for walks.
Oh yes. We've been here going through a bit tough situation. Now it's way better. Now is everything better, and everything is open, and the shops are open, and restaurants are open, bars are open, gyms are open, and beaches are open. Like we're still very strict with we must wear the masks. And because of course the danger is still around, and it's you know, when they say, oh, the virus vanished, some people say, I was like, no, it didn't vanish, it's around. You know, it's just we have to all kind of respect in a way. If we have to wear and we see how it's gonna be, of course we have to get back also to normal. Slowly, because we are missing the social life. It's because for the human beings, the social life is so important, and it's like to maintain this healthy body and mind for us mentally. The whole socializing part is really important, and if you cut this out, we are becoming like, I don't know, we are becoming like just, well, in a way it's also nice because you try this kind of monk type of the retreat, you know, when
not everybody, because like I mean, it's not like I drank a lot during this lockdown, but my alcohol I increased the amount of alcohol I drank, and I know some other people, like, it was way worse, you know. So I don't know if you could call it a monk lifestyle, you know, but yeah, sure.
Maybe it's like has to go for different levels and layers, you know, like you start of course from the frustration part. It starts when you feel helpless, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what to do, and then first you just really go for the distraction, you
Yeah.
drink, you eat, and you just like, and then
Well,
of course after a while you wake up and you think like, okay, maybe it's time to
maybe I should stop the
get.
roll. Yeah, especially if you watch too much news.
Oh yeah.
Like watching the constant, the fact that you can plug into YouTube at any point and be like, what horrible thing has happened around the world today? And with this lockdown, I think everybody did that and just freaked themselves out majorly about just watching too much news. I think you're right. The whole body and spirit has to be equally as important in this situation. You can't just focus just on exercise or just
Exactly.
on your mind. I think you have to find a perfect balance, but we're all humans, so it's very hard to find
Yes.
that balance, and
Yes. And this is all about, I think it's about the whole journey.
mm,
I mean, all our life we gonna try to find this balance of the body and the mind.
yes.
And this is, I also have you here today because you've been for me also the inspiration all the time, all the years before, about the whole spiritual part.
Yeah.
But the main point why do I have you here is like, because I know your story, and you know your story, which inspired me so much because I had myself problems with some physical problems with the pain in my
Yeah.
hips or in my knees, and it was really good to listen you in between and to get the strength from you, because you went
Oh,
through that all that hell yourself.
yes, indeed.
So can you just briefly tell me the whole pre-story of your story of
Sure.
your back, and just
Sure. So it's kind of, I'll try to keep it short. So I
we
basically,
have a lot of time, so we
yeah, that's true.
can.
So I basically had an injury on my lower discs, two discs, L3 and L4, and they were both prolapsed. I did
When
not,
was that?
sorry.
When was that?
So I was properly diagnosed, probably about I would say 13 years ago. Yeah, I would say 13, around maybe 12, 13 years ago. But prior to that, I had a lot of issues. I just kind of assumed that everybody felt that bad all the time and were in pain all the time and just couldn't walk for long distances, couldn't sit properly for a while. Like, I really enjoyed painting, but I really couldn't, because every time I would sit down painting, my back would just start killing me, which was not great. So the first incident that I fully recall, I was probably around 13, 14 years old. And I remember standing up from a chair and falling down and not being able to move, but the pain was so bad that I couldn't even shout to get my parents to come to the room or help me. I couldn't cry. It was just, the pain was just so immense. And I remember dragging myself. I was on the first floor, so I dragged myself to the staircase and just waited until one of my parents showed up, and they were obviously shocked to see me in such a state. And I know that lasted for a few days, but sadly my parents didn't really do anything about it. um, you know which is a bit weird, but okay.
Well, different timings, I guess, and yeah, different.
Yeah, I didn't think they thought it was as serious, or that maybe
Okay.
I was pretending. I really don't know. I really should ask them and be like, what the hell happened? So I remember that my mom had to take care of me for like probably 2 nights. I had to sleep like with her so she could take me to the bathroom, and it wasn't great. And then I completely forgot about that, I must say, for quite a few years. But then I started wearing really high heels, which was, as you
This
know
was
yourself, like, which definitely didn't help, because I used to go out clubbing with those things, and it just wasn't, it couldn't have been great. So, yeah, I suffered for a lot of pain, and I just kept on ignoring it for quite a few years. And then my partner and I moved to to Lithuania for a bit. We moved to Vilnius.
Mm.
And things got really bad there. So I would say this was probably 15 years ago, maybe 14, 15 years, something like that. I'm not exactly sure. And I tried to get help from doctors there. I went to private clinics. I wasn't even going to go onto, National Health Service, whatever the equivalent is in Lithuania, because I was like, I'm not doing that as a post-Soviet country. Like, no, thank you. But I went to one clinic, which was great. It was a tiny little clinic, kind of on the edge of Vilnius. It was really posh. It was great. They kind of did not know what to do with me. They sent me to get an MRI, which was actually a really bad MRI, because instead of like getting a scan of the lower back, they just got a bunch of tiny pictures in. If you know what an MRI looks like, it's a huge sheet of like that plastic paper. So there were just a bunch of tiny images. And this doctor tried to diagnose me. So I think they just prescribed me some physiotherapy, and basically I had to go in, I think it was every week, and he would stretch me and it was pretty much that. It wasn't great. It was helping though. Then
it's not like that serious.
No.
Or at least they didn't think that was something very serious, actually.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to charge me a lot of money, honestly, because it wasn't cheap. And then I went to another clinic, another private clinic, but he was a surgeon, this guy. He basically said, well, we can put you into surgery next week if you like. We have like a new wing on our hospital, so we can sign you up for that. Just not even like, getting a proper MRI done, like a 360 MRI, none of it. So the pain was getting really bad. So I decided to come back to London to actually get some actual help, hopefully. And then I came across a doctor who, luckily through our family friend, we found out about him. And he used laser therapy, low-level laser therapy, which apparently is a near-infrared light that he used to kind of rebuild my prolapse discs, I guess. And that was a very long process. So the first thing he did, he got me to go and get an MRI done, a 360 MRI of that specific area, so he could like properly see what's going on from all the way around. He did a nutritional profile on me. He did an allergy panel on me. He was very thorough. And that's where my journey actually started properly, which took many, many years. He also suggested that I should go swimming and do exercise.
But it's interesting because he probably, I face the same problem with when you have actually the pain, or you have like you really approaching first and first, if you have the pain, you go first to do one pictures, another pictures, then you go to approaching one type of the doctors. The ones are saying to you, oh, actually, we as you say, we can put you on this on the surgery the next week, it's gonna be fixed. But it's like the first thing they say immediately, like, oh, is we can do surgery for you, but it's like, then you need to have to go through so many doctors afterwards, or of course, many people is actually falling into the trap, and they actually listening to this first opinion of the first doctor that actually they should do the operation. But more you go through, more you dig inside, more you start questioning yourself. Is it actually this, or is it actually that? If you start questioning more, you find actually the doctors who is not even thinking about offering you a surgery,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And I mean, then they're speaking about completely alternative ways of healing, which actually is more simple, and not that is not the way to damage you completely, or not the way to put you on the bed for months in the healing.
And potentially years, because with surgeries things can go so wrong and potentially you can be on medication, some kind of opiate medication for the rest of your life, which I definitely wouldn't want to do, you
And
know?
specifically like in a part of the back where I think is so sensitive part and so
Yes.
difficult to do the
Yeah.
surgery there, and it's so easy, I guess, to damage something, and you might leave the
Yeah.
person like without legs or something, you know.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know, that's terrifying. It honestly is terrifying because, you know, when they tell you, also, you know, these doctors that I went previous to this great doctor told me, oh, you won't be able to walk in the next few years. You'll be in a wheelchair. They scared the hell out of me.
did they say this? Oh my.
Yeah, I remember, like, because my partner at the time, I don't think we were even married. And I was like, I don't know if I can put that on somebody else, like me not being able to walk for the rest of my life. Like, they scared the living hell out of me. Yeah, it wasn't great. Like, that doctor was absolutely terrible, though. Like, just, you know, telling me this stuff.
Well, I think in the end they all thinking just about money, you know, and for them
Absolutely.
it's just another operation, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I had the same situation with my hip when I went to the first doctor, and of course he immediately said, well, if it hurts, we can make you the hip operation. It's gonna take you maybe three
Yeah,
months 3 months of recovery and so
yeah,
on. You can't walk and so on and so on and so on. And but then it's like, my God, I was thinking the same, like I cannot even think about like maybe having for
yeah.
another 3-4 months of being completely not capable to do anything, and also putting this on your partner, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you're not even thinking like what could potentially go wrong with the surgery. I mean, obviously, in some cases, surgery is definitely the right way to go. But in a lot of other cases, you should always try to find other opinions. And because I fully understand where you're coming from, because when you're in that much pain all the time and you can't function as a person and you see other people functioning, you're like, I just want to get it fixed. So
Exactly,
I fully
exactly.
understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah. You just want to listen to them.
You
But
just want to get rid of the pain, because then
yeah,
maybe, as you said in the beginning, you get this pain, and then you think, oh, maybe that's how everyone
yeah,
has,
yeah.
because it's becoming kind of normality, the daily normality. This pain is kind of adapting to you, and then you adapt to this pain, to the chronic pain. Actually, it becomes to the way that you actually just live with it daily.
Yeah.
You start feeling that something is cracking all the time, or when you do some exercise you have to limit yourself completely because you have get the pain, or in some cases you walk for half an hour, then you cannot walk anymore.
Yeah.
The
Or
same
no,
as was for you, the same was for
yeah.
me. And then uh, and at some point you realize, oh, I have to just get rid of it. And
Yeah.
of course, when they offer you the operation, you might consider that.
Of
If
course.
if you don't know any other options, you might consider that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you know, you just want to, like, you don't realize how much you can't enjoy life when you're in that much pain. I remember when I was with you last time and your hip started hurting, and I realized, like, oh my God, I'm not experiencing that anymore. How great that is for me. But I'm like, I totally understand how bad that is for you. Because it's just horrible. Like, you can't enjoy life at all when
Exactly, you
you
cannot
have that
enjoy life.
constant pain, you know? It's horrible. Absolutely.
So apart the laser therapy you started doing, and then you still maybe doing, what other things uh, from the physical way of activity you implemented in your daily life?
Well, it took me a while to get to the exercise. I have to be honest, because as soon as he suggested that, I was like, I don't want to exercise. Like, I hate exercise. This is just not for me.
But it's
No,
so
thank
weird to hear this from you, because I know you that you are a really good swimmer and you've been swimming since very small days.
True. I think that's why I hated the exercise, because, like, you know, I used to swim when I was really young for quite a few years. I
Hmm.
just hated it. But I didn't have a choice because my parents were like, you have to go do sports. So when he suggested swimming and just maybe doing some little exercise every day, I was like, yeah, not doing that. But then I think as soon as he, like, it took me good 6 months of a lot of therapy with him to just get to a point where I wasn't crying in his office, because like, my partner had to come with me every time to get treatment, because it was so bad that even getting into a car and getting out of a car was like a huge deal. Like, I remember crying in his office before he could see me. It was terrible. And then I think within 6 months of seeing him regularly, I slowly got better. But I also went and got some orthotics, which really helped the way I put my feet down and the way
You
I
mean
walk.
the inlays in the shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they measure your foot and get the
Yes.
how. So
To
those
the
things are.
podologist. Yeah.
Yeah, so those things are important. So I got that done, I think, literally within a month of starting to see him, which really helped. And then I think after a few years of seeing him, I realized that I have to do some exercise. This is just not going to cut it. Besides, he's expensive to see because he works as a private doctor.
Mm.
So I don't know what happened, but I got a gym membership with a swimming pool and I started swimming. And at first I was terrible, like really terrible. Other people would just swim past me and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm terrible at this. But the more you do
So
it,
good. It was like a motivation for you, like, okay,
yeah, it
I can be
was.
better than them. I remember
Yeah,
this.
exactly. So, the more, so I started swimming at first, and for like good few years, I just swam. I didn't do any other exercise. I would just go and do my swimming. I think like I started with once a week, then twice a week, and then maybe I did it 3 times a week. I'm not quite sure, but probably. And the more I did that, I was like, maybe I should explore other types of exercise. Though I was scared because I spoke to my doctor about doing yoga or Pilates, and he was like, well, you have to be very careful because some positions might really injure you. Actually, tracking that back, I tried doing Aikido.
Okay.
And I hurt my back really badly. I mean, I was so dumb. I don't know why I did it. I did it. So I hurt myself. So I think that's why I started swimming. And then I started exploring Pilates and yoga, and I realized you have to just really watch when it starts even feeling uncomfortable and then not do it, even if the teacher is pressuring you and they're like, you can do it. Like, no. I'm an adult. Do not tell me what to do. So
it's about listening your body, actually.
Absolutely. So I did that, and I think having like actually building some muscle has really improved my back. It really has. So I'd say no matter what you do, doing exercise is really important, even if it's low intensity exercise like swimming, where you basically, I think you can't really get hurt if you're just very, very careful.
Exactly.
So I think, going to the gym was another kind of moment in my life where I was like, this is the key. I have to do this. Like, I think doctors can only help you so much, but if you don't have like muscle, then your body is very feeble. So no matter what issue you have, you kind of can't rely on your body as much. You have to rely on other people, which isn't great and expensive.
Yes. Well, in my case, I think I had like the kind of backwards situation when actually in the beginning, for the last 15 years, let's say, I was doing intensively yoga and Pilates and hot yoga and a lot of like high intensity exercising, or like power yogas, where actually, but of course, from the beginning on, I didn't know myself exactly how correctly every position has to be.
Yes.
And this is the problem of many also studios or teachers that, of course, when they are having so many people in a class, they cannot attend everyone personally and correct with every situation. So, and of course, when you start doing yoga in the first years, you really want to prove something yourself.
Yes.
Or you want to be good, or you want to be better, especially when you, for example, I was starting from hot yoga, and hot yoga is very high intensity.
That's crazy. I can't believe you started with hot yoga. I did not know that. You are crazy.
And I loved it. It was amazing. But I was pushing myself so strongly, so hardly that I'm sure that, well, when I recall now all of these years, I see that I've done many of the positions with the wrong lower back. And I start tracking myself and understand from where I was getting all of my lower back pain all the time, because of course I was performing wrongly. Or on the same time, since the small days, no one actually tells you how to walk correctly, what your body posture has to be, how straight you must walk, and how exactly straight you have to walk, like with the shoulders back, with maybe lower back more tucked down. No one is telling you this thing. So of course, 3 years through the wrong way of walking and posture, and plus afterwards with the wrong exercising, I think I damaged myself a lot. Or it affected the problem in my hips or in my knees, because of course the whole pressure in the body was on the wrong points. So, and of course, after doing, when the pain started coming, I actually had to reduce my physical activity, because every time I did something, I started feeling uncomfortable. And for me, was kind of very shock hit, that after doing daily, I had to really reduce and do just very soft intensity and different type of the way of the yoga, where actually I woke up and I started understanding that I actually have to listen myself.
Yeah, but that's hard, because that is really hard. I understand.
Because then you go from that, and then of course through the years you start seeing the correct positions and how to do it correctly, but only afterwards. I mean, usually they say that the ones who's finding the way to listen their body, it usually has to go through the most hardcore situations in their life, mentally and physically, through a lot of pain, mental and physical, to really understand how you should do and which is your type of the rhythm to do things. And well, I want to say that for me I was the opposite one. Actually, I was doing too much. I was damaging myself. I had to stop it, to start feeling it. And then I had to, as the same as you, getting the inlays in my shoes. And going to podologists, going to rheumatologists, and to the people who's actually was seeing the things that, maybe the things actually is coming from your wrong posture, from your wrong way of doing things, And only then I started to change completely the type of doing sports, of just not pushing yourself to the limits, not trying to prove anything to anyone, or just try to enjoy yourself and just make your body stronger, because the muscles we have around, it's so necessary. We need to train them so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think like having ab muscles has helped my back more than anything. Like honestly, I know I was told that, but I so didn't want to listen, because I was in my early 20s and I was kind of all over the place.
Yes, of course, but because, as I say, I think this is also always about the lack of education for the people.
Yeah.
Especially when you are young, as we were young, both, and those times we were like kids, we were wearing already the high heels and stuff, which is damaging our backs so much.
Oh yeah, like those things are just so not good for you.
Yeah, or like we were going to school and our backpacks to go to school were super heavy from all of the books and stuff. And usually you were just on the one side or you on another side. Of course, the one shoulder is more down. Of course. So it's like, it's a lack of education. And
absolutely.
I think they should actually give a really big education for the kids at school from the beginning on, and then it should be like big part in the life, or teaching yoga people, the kids, teaching Pilates.
I remember how much I hated physical education classes in school. It was the worst. Like, but I think it's really depending on the teacher. But yeah, that was I hated that class so much.
And also from the times in the place.
It was awful. I did not like physical education. I just had such a bad opinion about it. And now I realize like how important. That's the thing with this lockdown. The two main things I want to open are gyms and restaurants. I would have never thought that 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. Now I'm completely obsessed. Because it makes you strict. When you can go to the gym, you're somewhere else. You're not at home, and you're like, okay, I'm going to work out for this long, or you do a class, and you just have to keep up.
You dedicate time to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You dedicate time for yourself. It's like you take a break from everything you have around, and you say, this time is going to be just for you. Yeah. And no matter how much you hated me, no matter how many times you've been like also or lazy or the thing, and then you have to push yourself, and it's always afterwards you feel really good.
Oh yeah, you feel amazing, and mentally and physically, you know. Also, you spend that time without your phone, which is amazing.
Right.
People who have issues with, you know, addiction to social media, I think going to the gym is the best, because you just have to leave your phone behind. Then, you know, you have to do a class that's an hour and a half. So you don't look at your phone for that long. Then you go to a sauna or steam room. So, you know, it's like a few hours out of a day where you don't look at your phone. And I think that's so important.
Yes. How is about your partner? Is he also into the exercising, or do you support each other in this?
I think if not him, I would have slacked off way more, because I hear him exercise and I'm like, okay, well, I have to exercise because it'll just look so bad if I won't. We kind of push each other to do it. He concentrates more on weightlifting, I must say.
Okay.
Which is good. You know,
good. Of course,
very happy for him. But yeah, it seems like we reinforce good behavior in each other, which is great, because otherwise I would probably, if I was by myself, I would just start playing really depressing music and start drinking wine every day, which would not be good for me in long term. But you know, I can totally see that happening. So yeah, like him exercising every day as well really helps me. It kind of reinforces the whole exercise routine. I don't think I would have kept up the exercise if not him, honestly.
Yeah, I also realized that in a lockdown, it really helped a lot to be like a team.
Yeah.
With a partner, to team up, and you say, okay, today we're gonna do the training for the legs and the lower part of the body. Okay, tomorrow together we're gonna do the training for the upper body and the arms. You know, and it's like, it's, even though if one maybe is lazy, another one is pushing more, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, exactly. Like, we don't exercise together because we just work on such different things, you know, like during this lockdown, because I couldn't see my doctor for any of these months. And I kind of missed, I didn't see him for quite a long time, like 8-9 months maybe, for the first time in my whole life. It was starting to get really bad. So what I did every day, I would do child's pose for like 10 minutes.
Right.
Which really helped my back.
Helped so much.
I just do that for a good 10 minutes and I just feel so much better straight away. It's such a blessing, honestly.
Okay. That's good advice to everyone.
So you have to know what exercise works for you, like what relieves the pain that you have. And sooner or later, you will find 1 or 2 exercises or stretches that really make it a lot better. And you just have to keep on going until you do. You know, it's it's a process.
It's a process. It's true. And how do you see, for example, like, or how would you say, which was for you the most worst feeling, the time with your back, and what's the difference between actually now and then? It's like, so people can understand actually the completely change of the.
Well, it was like living in a dark pit of pain where no matter what you do, even laying in bed was painful. Like there's not even a moment in time where you're not in pain. And you know, at some point medication stops working. No matter how many painkillers you take, it's not working. And that's a horrible point to be in, because you can't enjoy your life. Your partner's definitely suffering because you're suffering. They can't do
Mm.
anything to help you. And it's the worst when your partner's suffering, you can't, or your family member or someone you really care about is suffering and there's nothing you can do to help them. That is probably horrible for them as well. Yeah, it felt like living with horrible depression. Just instead of depression, it's pain, and you're just sucked in. Your whole life is surrounded by that. It's not great. And now it's complete opposite. But I feel like instead of giving up, because I felt like a victim all my life, I'm like, why did this happen to me? But many horrible things happen to people. You just have to accept it and somehow find the good things about it and find ways to control the situation. And exercise, I would say, for mental and physical pain, like, is great because you feel like at least you have some control over what's happening. It's horrible to feel that feeling that you don't have control. Just having like a minuscule amount of control feels awesome. I would say that's the difference. I didn't feel like I had control at all back then, and now I feel like I have a lot of power to make my back feel better or worse. There are things I can do.
Yeah, I think this is also this is the main point about that, not to just get rid of that pain, but to learn to control it.
Yeah.
To master it in a way that you can control it, and you can anytime just leverage in between, and you listen to your body, and or you think, okay, now I get this pain, maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need more stretching. Maybe I need more, as you say, the child pose for the 10 minutes to relax.
Yeah.
And, or especially, of course, if it gets worse, that you need to go for therapy again.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's about listening, and yeah, like for me, it's like, as I remember you, since I remember you from the beginning with this problem, and I think in the worst condition when I've seen you, when I visited you in London, one of the times, this was when you actually had to walk with
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I had crutches for a very long time. I had
Exactly.
a cane. I completely forgot about that.
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Yeah, that you couldn't, and for you was like you couldn't walk for more than half an hour.
No.
And you needed to come back, and to walk around in a center and doing the shopping together was not an option.
No, thank goodness for online shopping. Like, that's the thing. When my back became really bad, thank goodness we moved to London, and my partner got me an online shopping account. And he's like, we have to do this. We cannot, like, you cannot go to the store anymore. It's not an option. And I must say, it's been great having it, because when the lockdown happened, we had an account with everything ready, because they were not giving out any new accounts when the lockdown happened. So I was like, well, something good came out of it,
Yeah, and I mean, that for me to see you, like when I've seen you that time and seeing you now, it's like completely two different people, and
yeah,
it's just, for me, it's like, wow, this is unbelievable, this is like, the human body can just heal himself completely, and it's just a matter of time, matter of will, and I think the matter of the just the decision. You have to make a decision with yourself. You take in your own hands, and you have to go through.
I wouldn't say that the human body can heal itself, but there are many things that can be done to help it heal.
Exactly. Well, I'm speaking metaphorically.
Yeah, but just wishing to be okay is not gonna help. You actually have to do stuff. Yeah, definitely.
You cannot ask to wish and it's just gonna happen. It's not.
That would be great, though. That would be so awesome. Really.
Yeah, but you have to put a lot of energy, a lot of work, a lot of time in actually fixing yourself. And yes, wow, it's amazing. You're one of these examples where I always share with the people, and I say, like, when I was super down and I was crying tears thinking that I will have to make a surgery with my hip, Khat was the one who actually gave me the strength, gave me positivity. She inspired me just to not to give up and continue finding another ways. And of
Yeah.
course, and then somehow these ways are coming. If you
Yeah.
start actually digging into what, if you starting to understand or want to understand what is actually happening, from where it comes, not only giving all of the responsibility to the doctors.
Yeah.
Is the problem of the people are the most that they just give all of the responsibility to the doctors. They
Yeah.
don't want to take
I think,
responsibility themselves.
when you're in pain, like immense pain, your judgment is very clouded. You can't make a
That's
decision.
true.
So I
That's
fully
true.
understand. You want someone who has been to school for this for many years to tell you there is an option to make you better. That's why I was lucky to have good family around me and supporting me while I was going through this, because honestly, when you're in that much pain, you're going to take the first option that comes to you. And a lot
Yes,
of times it's surgery, which makes sense, because you're not in that mind space to take care of yourself and to find other options, which is understandable.
yes. So what would you say to other people who are in similar situation like you, who are also struggling with a different pain and maybe in the same dark hole as you used to be? What would you say to
Oh,
just to give them strength or to inspire a bit?
I would say, it seems impossible at the moment. It really seemed impossible to me at the moment when I was for quite a few years in that horrible space. But you never know what the future might bring. And if you have family to rely on, people you can trust that love you, trust them to help you. You have to reach out for help. Like, there has to be at least one or two people in your life who can help you through this process. And I know I didn't want to be a burden, but sometimes you have to rely on the people around you, and you have to take responsibility. I know how I felt. I was like, why is this happening to me? I felt like such a victim, and being a victim is not a good way to go through life. You have to take responsibility no matter how horrible it is. I guess that would be it.
That's true. Otherwise, you're gonna be victim all your life, and then
Yeah,
you're just gonna lose many, many nice moments
absolutely.
and just victimizing. Wow, thank you so much today for all of this amazing, amazing talk and amazing um, that just moments that the ones you share from your life. It's super beautiful.
Aw,
I'm really honored,
aw,
and
thank you. No,
just
that has been great.
from all of these talks, what I want to say to everyone that, and you always have to listen your body. You don't have to give up. You never have to give up in anything. Is no matter any kinds of problems you have with your body, you always first you have to get diagnosed. You have to get diagnosis, not one diagnosis, not from
Many.
one doctor. You should take minimum 2, 3 doctors diagnosis. If
Three, I would
you
say.
go one, exactly, you go once. If you feel it's not right, go to second one. If you feel it's not right, go to third one until
Yeah.
you may find one or some of all of the diagnoses which might seem to be reasonable, because
Yes.
there is always an options. You don't have always to go straight to the surgery table. It's not the solution. It's not the first solution. You should try
Not
many
always
other
the
things.
solution.
But of course, before doing any kind of other activity, first you have to get diagnosed to really know what it is with you, what's happening with you, where is exactly the problem. And then from there you have to really search for different therapies. There are so many different therapies.
Hmm.
Actually, have you tried the acupuncture as well?
I did not try acupuncture for my back, but I have
Okay.
tried acupuncture for my mental state and other problems I had in life. It's it's an interesting, because it's a weird way to approach medicine,
Mm,
definitely. It's very different to what we expect medicine to be. As much as I don't want to say it, I feel like it really helped me mentally.
Mm.
because it just doesn't seem like it's a actual realistic option. Maybe
Mm.
it's a placebo effect.
Yeah.
I don't know, but mentally it definitely helped me. For my back, I did not try it. I mean, maybe, but I cannot recall, so I don't know. But mentally it helped me, yes.
Well, I think that there's like we should get like different approaches and to try different
Yes.
things just to really understand what it works exactly for your body and
Yeah. Even
how
if
does your body
even if
accepts
it
it.
is a placebo effect, if it works for you, it works for you. You know?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. If it works, because I tried myself the acupuncture as well. Actually, the time when I had my lower back pain really
oh
strong
yeah.
after moving actually to Barcelona, and what I also was thinking, I was not sure if this is
It just
actually the placebo because it's everything seems to be very slowly. The process of healing is slowly because of course is everything involved is the nutritional part as well
yeah.
is because the Chinese medicine is all about the whole thing is um, depends the type of your body and from that you should eat specific one types of the food or
Yeah.
another types of the food and also many herbs are involved in that, so I think we should just try, everyone should try depending on their case different methods, different therapies. Try to listen to your body, try to read a lot and watch a lot. There's so plenty of information around, just like
Absolutely.
take all of the and sometimes I think like I don't know, I diagnosed myself million times in
Oh,
many
no.
in million ways because I was reading everything like just to
Mhm.
figure out what is exactly going on, you know.
But I think that's sometimes not good when you do that to yourself. You have to step away and find some
Yes,
professionals to help you. And you also have to be careful with
well, just be
alternative
conscious
therapies.
about what exactly.
Yeah, but with alternative therapies, you have to be careful because there's a lot of not good stuff out there too.
Yes,
You
yeah,
have to be
yes,
aware of what you're
yes.
doing. That's why I think it's so important to have a friend, a family member, or a partner who watches out for you when you're in that fugue state, when you're in that much pain, so you don't make a mistake.
Yes, because actually, when you're like desperate, you try to grab for anything
Yes.
what is around, and you think, oh, might this help? Oh no,
Yeah.
maybe might this help? But it's actually you get confused
Oh,
because,
yeah.
of course, you're just desperate. You just want to get
Yeah.
rid of the pain.
Makes sense. Completely understandable. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kat.
Aw, thank you for
This
having me. I'm so happy to be the
it was
first
a
guest on
pleasure
your
to have
podcast.
you here, the first one.
Hey.
And um, this was the first episode of One Mind Zone podcast. And this was Kat with us, sharing her story with us. And see you next time in episode 2. We're still not sure. I'm not sure with who it's gonna be, how it's gonna be. Hopefully it's gonna happen. And yes, stay safe, stay good,
Stay positive.
stay
Bye.
positive. Ciao.